Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about something that for me was very easy to talk about before my mom died. And a lot of people ask me, how do you know that your mom is around you? How do you feel her? What happens, Where are the signs for her to be around you? Well, back in the days, I usually got a lot of signs. And when my ex-mother and father-in-law died, I could feel them around me. They popped into my mind when I was doing totally something different things. And a lot of things in my house was happening. And I think because at that time I was very open. Well, it's not like I'm not open now, but I'm open when I'm working, but I'm not so open when I'm not working today. But when you start developing, you are interesting, you are curious, your mind is on spiritual matters more than less all the time. And of course you're open. It's almost impossible to close yourself down. And when you say, oh, you have to ground yourself, it's impossible, to ground yourself and to get away from spiritual activity and spiritual matters. You need to put your focus on something else. And when you are going through your awakening, the mind is 100% on spirituality all the time. So there will be a lot of things that are happening. Well, can you trust it? Well, a lot of it you can trust. But believe you me, you also want so much. So you might put a lot of your own interference, your own mind in the way and create a lot of things that is actually not from spirit, but from yourself. And I'll tell you a little short story. I used to think about the spirit world 24/7 more or less. And every time I was thinking of the spirit, I could feel a pressure here on my side, on my head. And I thought, oh, now they're here. Oh, I can feel them now, they're here. I just have to think about them and they are here. Little did I know, but I discovered several years later, it was not the spirit. It was me creating that feeling. Because that was my way of tuning to the spirit world. A lot of people have heard me say, especially the ones who join me for courses and things, that the more you are developing this, the more you are in this spiritual energy, the less you will feel, the less you will see, the less you will hear, You become a part of this energy. So yes, we lose a lot of people during the development because suddenly, where did the movies go? Where did my pictures go? Where did the feelings go? Suddenly, they are not there as strong as they used to be. And you go, where? I lost it. No, you haven't. You just gone up a ladder. We can talk a lot about this, but I want to go back to feel your realities when they have passed to the spirit. And I can't say why. I have a couple that I know who lost their son to the spirit world, for example. And one of the partners have seen him like he sees you, physically, and get a lot of signs from him, The smell from him, he can feel them putting their hands around them and the arms like a hug, And the other partner doesn't feel a thing, doesn't see a thing. And you think, why is that? It's not fair because they're both longing for them, But I don't know why. Maybe one of them is more open. Maybe one of them is more critical. I don't know. It's really weird why one gets it and not the other one. But I know one thing. It sure has to do with your own mind. Because your own mind is the most powerful tool that you have. And you can make your mind your best friend or your worst enemy. So I'll tell you something else, I've been working for this 30 plus years, And like I said, the more I've been working with this, the less I feel. I just know. Today when I stand up on a demonstration and do my communication, I just know. I don't stand and wait for the sensation from the spirit world. I just open my mouth and start talking. And there we are blending together. And I just trust everything that pops into my mind. Believe you me, if I'm not in action, if it's not a job I'm going to do, I don't trust my mind that much. But when I'm in action, and the only thing I can think about is the spirit world. I trust everything that pops into my mind because it's there for a reason. So, when my mom died, that was December last year, I was at the palliative care with her for 4 days. And I'm actually on my phone with my husband and I'm saying, I have to hang up because I think my mom is on the way to go home now. So I hang up with him and I sat down with my mom and I talked to her. And I said, it's okay to go, and all them beautiful words you want them to hear when they pass along. And in my mind, I thought, let's see what happens now. Because you hear all these stories, you see, a lot of people, they experience a lot of things when the people die. And I thought, here I am, 30 plus years a medium, doing quite well. I'm quite good at my job, if I can say that myself. But when I'm sitting there with my mom, I feel nothing. Absolutely nothing. She's just take your last breath and that's it, Really, really weird. And I was so disappointed. I sit in the car on the way to my dad and I'm ugly crying. Really ugly crying in the car. And I'm driving, really crying, And suddenly I hear a voice in my head. Now you can take care of that bugger. And it's come from nowhere. And I know that was my mom because she was so angry at my dad towards the end because my mom was in such a bad state. My dad had Alzheimer's, dementia, and he was quite mean to her. And I didn't realize everything because I was living 2.5 hours away from them. So I only heard the drama on the phone and I never got it. But at the hospital, she definitely didn't want me to ask my dad to come up. She didn't want to see him. So when I think back of it, it was quite, typical her. Now you can take care of that bugger because she had enough of him. But after that, I was waiting. Where's my mom? Why don't I feel her? For God's sake, I'm a medium. Why don't I feel her? And like I usually joke about, I'm a little bit retarded, it takes a little bit of time for me for the penny to drop. But after a while, I'm realizing, what am I saying to all my students? And how am I working nowadays? Yeah, I don't feel much, I don't see much, I don't hear much, I just know. So why would I suddenly get to feel my mom? Of course I don't. Of course, I just know she's around. But my ego, me, want to feel her. I wish I could go back 25, 30 years in my development when I felt so I could feel my mom around me. But I'm not there. I'm beyond that today. So I have to trust like I do when I'm working. I know she's there. But I did have a nice experience now, and we went to the memorial place where she is, her ashes is spread with my eldest son, and we went there, put the flowers there. Both of us talked to Mom, what she meant to us, our memories, and then we played her favorite song, My Way, with Frank Sinatra, and then I actually felt her. And it was such a bliss. It was such a beautiful, beautiful reunion, And I also think it took a special setting to be together with my son. And maybe his energy reflected on mine as well, because he's not into this, you see. So maybe it was stronger when we came together in that atmosphere. And in the depth of our grief, we was just opened up our heart with no expectations. I didn't expect to feel her. I didn't expect anything. I just wanted to share this memory with my son. And there she was. And it was absolutely wonderful. I still wanted to come around me though. And I'm sure she is around me. No question about it. But I still want to feel it again. But hey, I have to accept where I am in my development, within my knowledge, and all sorts of things. But I believe personally that, yeah, I would love to, but that's my ego. That's my want, my need. But I don't think the spirit world will put themselves out there just to satisfy my ego. If they know I'm coping well anyway, because I'm happy that she's home, that she's not suffering anymore, regardless that I miss her. But I believe that if you need a sign, not just for your ego, but you actually need one to go on in this life, you will get as many as you need to be able to understand that they are still around you. And it's interesting because some gets more, some gets less. And I believe, I don't know anything really, that's something I learned over all these 30 plus years in this, that the more I'm involving in this, the less I know really. But I believe that they can create anything to give you a sign that will remind you of them. Like suddenly there's a dragonfly sitting on your nose, hypothetically, but it has happened, dragonfly comes and sit forever on you, which they will never do. There can be a bird who suddenly, a wild one, sitting in your hand, and sitting there forever, and it's the bird, the same breed that your mom or your grandma was feeding in her garden, whatever, So yes, I believe you can get as many signs as you need. And I also believe that the spirit world is quite intelligent. So if they are for better good, they can create anything, but not just for your ego. Which maybe is a pity, because it would be nice to feel my mom. But anyway, there are no limitations, I believe, when it comes to the spirit world. I believe we put our limitations there. And for me, who always have had the critical mind, also questioning everything, so it's not so easy for the spirit world to give me a sign, because I'm questioning it, I'm doubting it, and I want to pick it apart to be sure. And I've been like that for quite some time, and I'm starting now again actually to let go of that, because so what if it's not real? So what if it would just be my imagination? At least it was comfort for the time. So I'm being a little bit easier on myself as well. But yes, I believe they give you signs every time, everywhere, if you need it. So talk to you next time, or have a good week, good month, good year, whatever. Bye.